All right, welcome back. My name is Tyler. You've maybe seen me before, most likely not. Today we're going to talk about how to stop living in survival mode. And what I mean by that is the involuntary pattern and loop that you're living in, that most people are living in, and I struggled with myself for a long time. Recently started to be more aware and more conscious, and I've got myself out of that. I'm more in the flow state. You know, life has just been beautiful, and I feel cold. I feel like I have to. I feel selfish and unfair if I don't make every attempt to kind of help others break out of that and liberate from that and be free from that. And I think that all of you deserve to wake up, you especially, the one that immediately resonates, the one that immediately feels a connection and a vibe, and you're feeling good. That's always the best feeling. That really wakes most people up. But for the average person, you wake up, probably scroll on your phone for way longer than you need to. You go to a job that you don't enjoy and that doesn't fulfill you in any way. That just makes enough, or it's all right. It gets me to this. It allows me to make this much. It's okay, and you just find your reason that. Then the day passes you by, you clock out, you go home, and you feel unfulfilled. So you probably just fill the void with anything. Social media, with you binge watch Netflix, you look at the newest show, it's just something to immediately get the attention and the dopamine. And, you do that, and you do that for a couple hours, and you realize, oh, maybe I do have some tasks to do, and you do a couple of things, and you feel good, and you feel accomplished, and then basically the whole day went by, and all you did was maintain, if that. Most people do this for years. Years pass them by, and years pass me by, and I just don't want others to feel that way. Life is much more simple. You don't have to live on autopilot. You can slow down and really be present, and it allows you to make the most out of every moment, and you really start to live life and enjoy life that way. And that's whenever, helping, with that is defining a purpose. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. But to get out of survival mode, whenever you are able to, stop. Just stop what you're doing, drop everything, and just let go. Be in the current moment, take a couple deep breaths, focus on what you're feeling, focus on what you can touch, focus on what's currently around you, what you're thinking about, what you've been thinking about for the past couple of minutes. Sage is coming over to make an entrance, my little buddy. Also, this is kind of like my timer. It's water, hydrogen water. Shout out to a old mentor of mine. He told me to get this. It really helps actually with inflammation and everything. Or it's placebo. But either way, it works for me. So, good investment. But going back to breaking out of survival mode and being present and slowing down, really just take a deep breath and focus and slow down and become present by navigating your thoughts. And by navigating your thoughts, I mean, really, when you do slow down, it's hard to do it whenever you're so exhausted by everything. The expectations of tomorrow, the history of the past, the burdens of the past, the burdens of the future. Everybody lives in the future and in the past. No matter what you do, you cannot predict the future. You can shape the future. You can 100% do that. You can manifest it. You can focus your energy on something, and then, of course, that's going to become. But 100% you can't control the future, and you shouldn't want to. That's not the point of life. The point is to just enjoy it, embrace it, and be open to anything and everything that's possible. And for the past, literally nothing you do can never change that. Accept that. Be like, no matter what. Dude, whatever happened to you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago, it's not you. Whatever happened to you yesterday is not you. Whatever happened to you 5 minutes ago is not you. It's whoever you are right now that's the gift. That's the present. That's the presence. You get to choose whoever you want to be in any moment. In any moment. And what you did in the past doesn't affect you. Others are going to hold you to that. They're going to be like, well, you did this to me. Okay, great. I'm sorry. Or you're welcome. We both learn from it. We can let go. We can move on. We're new people. And others are always going to try to put themselves down low. They're in a low vibration, low frequency. They're very low people, and they're going to try to drag you down there. Think about it. Whenever you start getting out of a rut, you start feeling better. Think about all the negative people that come back into your life. All the remnants of the past, we'll say. I have those popping frequently. Um, it feels like a temptation, like a challenge. And of course, I see it for what it is. I wish every single person in my life, especially those in my past that had huge effects on me, I wish them nothing but the best. But I'm not repeating patterns or playing those, new paradigm. I'm focused on new. I want to create. I don't want to consume. But where I was going with it, it's just gone, you know. And that's part of being in the flow is I really just go with whatever thoughts. I was honestly thinking whenever I was kind of sitting here and I was like, hey, what should I talk about tonight? I was like, wait, that's not the point of it. The point is to just talk. It's my thought vomit, and I can just it's unfiltered. Not a of course there's gonna be dumb thoughts, rational thoughts. There's gonna be thoughts that are just like, why did you even say that? Like, where did you connect that with that? Which obviously I can reason and understand, but the average person won't. But I really do want to focus on getting on a survival mode. You know, quit living life on autopilot. If you're miserable in your job, you need to do everything in your power to get out of that. That's at least what I used to believe. I don't believe that now. Um, Environment, trust me, I've changed environment. I moved 1,000 miles, and literally in a split-second decision, and that's 6 years ago. Environment doesn't change anything, trust me. But instead of trying to just escape, which by the way, that is a very good option. Escaping will allow you to have new perspective, which will allow you to grow. Um, by the way, this is Sage, in case you guys don't know, my sweet baby boy. He's the best. He will always be here and be welcome. He can climb and crawl around all he likes. It's his home, his life, his existence. But you really just have to define like a whole new identity. Instead of thinking about all the things you want to obtain in the future, the end result, the end goal, it's good to do that, but you need to focus on the type of person it takes to get there and what that person would be doing. And like me, I want to go to sleep right now. I don't really want to do this. I mean, I do. It makes me happy. I did it last night. It was my first time doing it. I thought about it for about a year, and I just never did it. And then I was like, wait, the version of me that I want to become would do it no matter what. Just simply because it's just part of routine. It's a part of habit. And even though, again, it could all mean nothing and you could find no value in this, but somebody will. I do in the current moment. And that's what it's all about. I'm having a great time right now. I'm vibing. I'm just chilling. I got some music on in the background. And I'm trying to help others realize that they don't have to live an automated life, If you're miserable in your job, leave your job. Find a new way to think, find a new environment to be in, because then you can really shift your identity. And then figure out why you're miserable. Like, are you miserable at your job because you're being micromanaged? Well, then nowhere you go is going to change that unless you kind of are in a position of management, which even then it's worse. Middle management's worse, and the higher up you go, it's the same thing. And that's for another topic, another day. Become an entrepreneur if that's your main thing, or it's because of this certain person at this, career, or I can't advance here, or I don't make this much here. Change it. Don't complain about it. Complain about it, but to those who are going to inspire you and push you to actually do something about it. But if you complain about life and your friends just listen to it, and they don't do anything to kind of help guide you, just be like, hey, listen, you don't have to accept that. You deserve better. We all deserve better. And then you need new friends. But try to be around people who are going to push you, motivate you to pursue healthy things and find a purpose, find a reason. And whenever you slow down, the more you learn to slow down and calm your thoughts. Bubba, come on. What you doing, huh? You're so curious. That's never there, right? The more you stay present, you stay still, and you stay focused, the more you're gonna realize you're safe, you're calm, nobody's out to get you. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. 10-minute timer. And It happens for you because everything is a gift, everything is a blessing. You learn something from everything, and that in itself is a gift. And once you realize that, the experience of life, like I had something occur today that I've never been through my entire life. I'm 25, and I've done a lot. And obviously, there's gonna be people here twice my age, three times my age. You're gonna be like, "Oh, young man, you've barely scratched the surface." But of course, it's about experience that really will help a person, you know, be wise and learn a lot. And if you could just learn something every day, you're winning. And me, what helps me slow down is realizing that I don't care about tomorrow, you know? I don't care about yesterday. I care about what can I do today that makes me feel good, happy, alive, and free. Where I focus all my attention on where I do feel free, and every single moment I am free, I'm using it to build and create the life that I want, not escape the life that I have. If that makes sense. That's what most people do. That's the whole revolving door, the same loop. And if you dopamine detox, you get off of social media, you stop just watching and filling the void, and you stop being a consumer and you start being a producer. Like, I think you should create a YouTube channel. Do it every night. Do what I'm doing. Do what other creators are doing that you like. Do unboxing. I don't know why I said unboxing. That's kind of weird. That was meant for somebody. That was meant for a specific person. Um, you know, play music. Put your music out there. Honestly, I find fulfillment in like helping others. Like I truly, genuinely just want to help others and help them grow in any way, shape, or form. Realize life's not as bad as you think it is, not as miserable, and that you can take a deep breath at any time and slow down. You know, and even doing that for one person one time ever is a win for me. But knowing that I have the potential to do it on a large scale, it's truly it makes my mind go insanely crazy with happy potential. And I know it doesn't make sense, it's just a bunch of words, but to me, that's the best way to explain it. I can't articulate how important I think it is to help others and help others grow and show them the way, show them the light. And you don't have to do what you're doing. If you're not comfortable with where you're living and you're capable of finding a different living situation, do it. Meet somebody, get out there, meet friends, find a roommate. Like, the world's not as scary as you think it is. You just have to escape the small circles that you're in, or the same routines, the same patterns, the same circles that you're in. Like, if you're somebody who feels like you're doing everything right, you're trying, you go to the gym, you work a job, you're reading, you're writing, and you still feel stuck, you need to break the cycle. You need to stop that same habits. Because no matter what, even if they're positive, they're eventually going to make you stagnant. So, get a new gym membership, go to a different location, go to a different gym, start meeting new people. You get your coffees at this place in the morning, go to a new place. You never know what kind of relationships that can spark, and the interactions, and creativity. That's what life is about new experiences, and you don't need to be scared to go out there in the world. You want to go see a movie, you don't have any friends to go see it with, go see it by yourself. You want to go to this nice restaurant that you seen on TikTok and you're like, oh my God, I'd love to try that. And you don't have anybody to go with you, go. Do it for yourself. Do it by yourself. Time's passing. There's no guaranteed tomorrow. Who promised you that? And once you realize that, like, my biggest thing is I understand, I see life for what it is. Every single moment it's priceless value. I would trade any amount of money for that. I would sacrifice anything for more time. That's what we're all here for, is to experience and live and be a human being, not a human doing. You're not supposed to just sit there and do this, do this, and do this. Like, you really need to just be and embody and just be in the present and really experience life. And step one is just getting out of survival mode. And how do we do that? We slow down. How do we slow down? By controlling our thoughts. How do we control our thoughts? Getting out of negative environments, negative situations, negative people, negative relationships. No matter how, oh my gosh, for dating, I know that a lot of people do the whole dating thing and the relationship thing. And trust me, tried it, been there, did it. It's amazing. People are amazing. The highs are so high, the lows can be extremely low. And if you're not balanced on your own, you will never be in a relationship. And I don't think that you should do that to other people. Of course, we all have our own life paths. We all have our own paths, and you'll learn a lot in relationships with other people. That's something I'm very grateful for. Is the relationships I have had. But like, you need to get out of these relationships. You shouldn't have to. That's a topic for another day. Get out of these relationships. Get out of these environments. Really slow down and control your thoughts. When you think something, when you're truly bored and you're alone and you're allowed to take the time to think, which none of you do, um, at least not enough. None of us do. That's where we lack creativity. As a kid, you were so creative because you were bored. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have instant access to television. You were outside. Hey, be home whenever the streetlights come on. You know what I mean? You get it. Of course we get it. We were there. We lived it. It's not the same now, unfortunately. And that's what I fear. I want the world to wake up and realize like every moment is so amazing. But slow down, get out of toxic things, control your mind. Control your mind by when a thought appears, when a pattern appears, you need to say, why am I thinking this? Well, I'm thinking this because this just happened. Okay, well, why did this just happen? Well, this just happened because I did this thing. Okay, why did you do that thing? Well, I did that thing because this person, boom, you did it for somebody else. So now you're having a negative thought because you were trying to feel some way for doing something for somebody else, and none of it was necessary. You created a problem in your head for no reason. And when you really stop and slow down and you see these thoughts and you can pull them and just figure out why you're thinking the way you're thinking, it lets you understand who you are. You figure out who you are, you can really then shape. The next step is to alchemize that. It's like, okay, all right, cool. Well, I'm thinking this. Let me say, instead of, okay, well, I feel this way because of this, but the truth is this. And you redefine it. Um, I think BMW is the best car brand because all of my friends, my colleagues, they have BMW. Do I think that's the truth? I don't know. I just think that because of this. If I wanted to change that idea and say, Nissan is the absolute best car brand, which is ultimate drivers. Come on, what are we talking about? But I make myself die laughing. But no, Nissan, I could argue Nissan because R34 Skyline, dude, Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor, Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, I could change the thought pattern. So instead of being like, oh, well, I think this is the best because of this, I could say, well, I know that's not true. And then the next time I think about it, I'm going to immediately revert to the new thought. And then over time, you're going to just only start thinking about your own original thoughts. And then if you are only thinking about your own original thoughts, because you don't consume as much or have so much people being let in, which it's good to let people in. I love bouncing ideas. But until you're at a level to where you can discern between what's yours and what's external, you don't need to be consuming a lot. So you need to control your thoughts enough to where you can be at a baseline. You're not having these extreme lows anymore. Like, I don't have extreme lows. I'm pretty neutral. I'm pretty like at peace. Life is beautiful. And then I have like really high highs, and then I have like great days. I have good days. Like, just every, but I don't ever have low lows because I just understand like why certain things have to happen and why life has to happen for us. And I can see what lessons are meant to be learned. So I'm gonna wrap it up, honestly. Getting kind of tired. I'm gonna drink my water and call it a day. But I hope that you at least learned something. The main thing, the only thing that I care that you take away is that you need to calm your thoughts, calm your mind. So instead of letting them run rampant, you need to start questioning why you think the way you think. That's step one. We'll continue to get into it. I'll talk more about it over time. And I'm never going to really be able to articulate all of my thoughts at once because there's a lot. There's a lot in this brain. And I'm sure you're going to start to see that. And I hope that you guys enjoy. I really do. You may not feel free in life, but you're free to subscribe. Feel free to if you want to. Have a beautiful night. Have a great life.